I'm Amy.
I'm Wendell.
And I'm Patrick.
And
This is
Yes,
But Why?
Podcast. Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm good. How's it going, Pachico? My God, it's been forever.
I know, it's been forever. I haven't even been Pachico for a while, so that's even more fun.
Oh, that's right.
I love when people
That's
call
right.
me Pachico.
You're not.
Though. No, I'm not.
And you're not Pachico. You've invented a human, I see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I became a witch and figured out how to, cut a pound of my flesh out, and then it was a person. So it was amazing.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. I'd like you to meet my co-host, Patrick. He's on the phone with us.
Hello.
Hey, Patrick. Nice to meet you, man.
Good to meet you.
Patrick is currently involved with all of my comedy pursuits. So
That is correct.
so whenever I'm doing comedy, mostly we're hanging out.
Yeah. If there's a rehearsal room somewhere booked by one of you,
Yep,
the
that's
other
correct.
of you is in it.
Yes. Yeah. Even if it was surprising, it'd be like, yeah, no, you're supposed to be here, I'm sure.
I would be concerned, actually, if I saw you at the theater without me.
Yeah,
I'd be
you
like,
should
what are
be
you doing,
concerned.
Amy? Why am I not involved in this?
Have I been frozen out?
Yeah, exactly,
Have
yeah.
I been? You'd have to wonder if you're being drummed out of the business. Yeah.
It's quite possible.
No. Jeff, do you have like a theater home base in Albuquerque, or are you just running your podcast from your house / the bar you hang out at?
I'm just running it from the house. I do not perform out of the home. I perform in the room I'm standing in right now, which is a converted closet that I have turned into a little recording studio.
Oh, great.
That's what I'm planning on doing, yeah.
I like that you're standing in a closet right now.
It's awesome. It's a big walk-in closet. It's the only walk-in closet we have. It is now like completely soundproof. I put up, extra drywall, and all my guitars are hung up in here, and I have my microphone and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, so it's plenty big. It's not like you're like leaning up against two walls and you're like kind of perched on a little corner seat.
Yeah, I still
I don't know.
imagine
It's like,
Good.
I mean, I can't like put my arms out without touching things with both of them. But
Sure.
it's
Yeah, I
like,
imagine your face is
you
up
know.
against it, so just right up against the guitar as you're talking to us.
Yeah.
That's the size of my closet I'm going to
Exactly.
convert over.
Yeah.
So.
I do have to sit inside one of the guitars when I record in here.
Oh, now I know it's
I
an
had to
acoustic.
open it up.
Did I mention that he's tiny? He's actually,
that's
he's
great.
like a Lilliputian. So that's
right.
how he can hang out inside guitars.
Imagining him moving giant
Yeah,
slides.
I am an action figure, or an inaction figure.
Oh, yeah.
Probably more likely.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really do anything, do they?
No.
Those bastards have just been staying in
No.
one spot for fucking ever.
Just that goddamn kung fu grip. That's it.
And it's not even kung fu.
That's it.
I mean, let's be honest. If that thing came at you, it doesn't hurt.
No, it just hangs on to stuff.
Yeah. Whew, I'll tell you. I tell you who's going to hurt you with their fists. My child. That's who. He punches me in the face every day, not because he like hates me. He doesn't have control of his
Right.
arms yet. So,
Yeah.
but oh man, it's hilarious when it happens. I'm always like, "How are
It
you
just
so
keeps
strong?"
popping you in the face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it keeps happening. But he's like almost trying to just hug me, so he like bashes me on either side. I'm like, "I love you too, kiddo. All right, quit hitting me."
Let's get him little boxing gloves.
Oh,
That's
definitely we
my
should get him
Christmas
boxing
present. Yeah, I'm
gloves.
gonna do that.
I was talking about how I need to get him involved in something so he can kick people's asses because, we're on the slow boat to insanity, and by the time he's an adult, who knows what the world's going to be like. So,
Yeah, exactly. He should be learning Krav Maga now so that he can kind of take on the hordes of mutants, flesh-eating mutants that are surely coming anytime.
It's a dream
Indeed.
of mine. It's
Indeed.
a dream of mine. I don't. Everybody else is on that. I'm looking forward to it.
oh man, now I really want to write a sketch about how he's the baby that saves the world, and like all of us are dressed up like, ugh.
But by accidentally punching them, he just.
Yeah,
I was going to say, he saves the world now by just like, they have to get their face near him, and he just pops them one in the face. That's
Done.
Oh my God, guys,
just made it.
this is a hit.
Did we just make $1 million?
Yeah.
Did we just become millionaires?
We are millionaires.
Let me check my bank account. No, we're definitely not. Sorry.
Oh, not yet?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Usually we don't Google Patrick.
I'm sorry.
God.
Wait, yeah, and he can't Google right now because he's on the phone. Well, I guess he has a
well,
laptop.
I mean, also I can Google if I'm on the phone. It doesn't not function.
Which is real hard while you're talking.
Nah, it's like a million. You know, who are you? Like 100? You can't like talk
Yeah,
to
that's
somebody
real.
and Google at the same time.
No, not without doing like the hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
But
back.
see, I like that kind of old school multitasking. That's old school multitasking. Hang on 1 second. Let me just do this other thing. Like, and then you switch.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really listening to you if I'm Googling. That's 100%. Yeah.
Oh, you're not
I
listening. I see how it is. So you're ready to be married. I'll let ladies know.
Wait, what? Wow.
Sorry.
Is that a requirement?
To be able to listen? Yeah.
No. The not listening.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
then, yeah, sort of. in the opposite way, but yes.
Oh, okay.
I think they're both important. To be able to listen and to be able not to is important.
Just let it roll off.
Oh, man.
Yes, honey.
Jeff, you're an amazing moderator. That was so great. You diffused it. I had my face
Yeah.
next to Patrick's face, and then I was like, Jeff's right. Oh, man. So tell me about your podcast and how it's been for you and the fun things that you've been doing, any sort of performance stuff.
Well, the podcast is awesome. The podcast is Super PP Time, which is an old friend of mine who I had not even talked to in 2 decades. I had not seen, heard from, or talked to in 20 years. My friend Cade, who I knew in college. We sort of got back in touch a couple of years ago, and it's sort of the most anarchic improvisation that we can kind of wrap our heads around. It's not, unlike yourselves, we are not trained improvisers at all. So what it is it stems back from when we met, when we were first in college with a few other guys, and we would all just be sitting around, joking around. Somebody would say some stupid something, and everyone would just sort of put down, like we'd be at lunch, everyone would put down their silverware and just stare at them until they made everybody laugh again, like if they made a dumb joke. And so, because we were actively, because, we were like 18, 19 years old, we were little assholes, and so you would actively try to stonewall, like you would totally, like, I will not laugh
Right.
unless you do something. And so we ended up developing this sort of weird sense of humor where you would say things that you can't even imagine was going to happen, let alone anybody else. Like, no one could imagine it, and you might laugh at it as hard as anybody else because it's just a surprising, I mean, I guess it's like all improv is kind of like that, where it's sort of like I imagine it like in the back of your mind, there's sort of a closed curtain, and you sort of reach back there, grab some prop, and yank it out there and start talking about it, and you don't even know what's back there. Like, you don't know what you're going to do or say. And that's what we try to do, is just, all our podcast is really about is like, as my wife described it, she's like, it's like 2 idiots amusing themselves on the moon. It's like... we're the last two people alive, and we're just giggling our heads off as we're just, as the world goes, slides down the toilet.
So you're ahead of your time, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's really basically what it is. It's not, it's not political, even though I'm definitely hooked into that, but I'm not during this time, because I feel like satire and surrealism, you kind of got to pick one or the other. They don't really go together very well in my experience. And both are great. Both are hilarious. But you can't really do like commentary and at the same time do real absurd, surreal craziness because they kind of dilute each other to the point where they don't work.
Huh.
So the podcast, that's just in my personal experience. I don't think they work very well. And
no, that makes total sense. I like the idea of that, actually. It just sort of blew my mind a little bit, which is why I was like, because I always have a tough time with absurdity. Like, I'm a very structured person, so, like, I appreciate the idea that you've done improv with no training, because it is sort of a natural thing, and you should just sort of be able to do it. It's just classes are often for, those of us who need structure, or like I need something to wrap my brain around to almost distract it. It's almost like classes are the fidget spinner for my head so that I can do the improv and be regular. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so
that makes total sense to me. I feel like improv quote rules are not a bad or structurally I don't think they lock you down at all. I don't think that's bad. I think the way that Kate and I sort of described the way we improvise is like we try to come up with some sort of a premise for the night, and we often abandon it immediately or within a few seconds. But it's like something that so that you have kind of a monkey bars to sort of swing around on, so you have something that's holding together, like something that continues to make sense, so that you can go as far out there as you feel like going. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the suggestion that other theaters up here will do to kind of get you started, and then where it goes from there. And the theater we're at doesn't do that, but
so the theater where we originally trained specifically doesn't take suggestions. So like we even kind of don't have the premise thing, but like like Patrick was saying, some of the other theaters in town do take suggestions, and it's just like that kind of thing.
It's extremely comforting too. Like the first time I did it, I was just like, oh, thank God. Yeah, because when I get out there and I don't have any sort of like narrowed down, it's just like there's too. It's when you go to Netflix and you try to find a movie, not knowing, and you're just like, I could watch any of these. There's too many choices. There's just there's an abundant supply of never-ending worlds.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
If you're not like kind of on, if you don't feel like ready to rock right now, which is not an indicator that you are ready, by the way. Like if you feel like this is going to be great, like you don't know what you're seeing at all, like you don't know. But like to go out with absolutely nothing, which is a lot of what we end up doing on our podcast too. Is like we just like sometimes just out of laziness, we'll be like, I didn't really think of anything. Did you think of anything? No. All right. Well, let's just start talking and see what happens. And it can be a little unnerving.
Oh yeah.
But some really fun stuff happens, obviously, when your brain is kind of scrambling for what to do.
Yeah, I feel like we end up even just in our form here, we end up kind of going down these rabbit holes that are they're good fun, but not necessarily related to how we even started, or what we want to talk about. Yeah. And then somebody cracks a bullet and gets us back on.
You hope, sometimes there is just no structure of any kind. Like, I'm down for rabbit holes. I was coaching this troupe recently, and they wanted to feel like they had something like that, like something to hold on to at the beginning of their set, but we didn't want to make the audience give them a suggestion, and they kind of wanted to keep control of it, but still have something to build off of. And I was like, okay, well then the first scene is everybody on stage. There has to be a natural situation where somebody has to tell a story, and then that person tells a story, and then everything else is just based on that idea.
Right.
And they're like, okay, cool. Yeah. And it ended up being like how they would mess with each other. Like they'd walk on stage and kind of do a little object work. Oh yeah, we're here. We're golfing. I guess we're golfing. And then someone would just like beeline for one of them and just be like, "Hey John, weren't you going to tell us that story about your girlfriend?" And then that's it. He has to tell a story. And then they all go, yeah, I'm interested in that story you said you were going to tell us. And I'm like, oh, God, you guys. But they love it. They love messing with each other. And, like, seeing how, like, naturally they can make it seem that, like, they are getting the information while also totally messing with each other on stage in front of everybody. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I feel like there's a